The big three, Bitcoin, Solana, and Ethereum, that is the topic of today. We're going to be doing a bit of a quick fire, rapid analysis, just top down on the higher term timeframes for the biggest three cryptocurrencies. Starting off with Solana, then we'll go to Ethereum, then we'll finish off with Bitcoin. Might as well save Bitcoin for last, I suppose, for today, because very little's changed there. And again, this is going to be focused on the higher term timeframes. And other than that, I should probably just remind myself to say my ear is like I can't hear shit out of it right now, but I'm starting to feel a lot better, which is really, really good. And I appreciate all of the well wishes and everything. It's been really nice, man, especially when you're feeling like absolute shit. Anyways, let's jump into it right here. Starting off with Solana. Starting off with the monthly time frame. I want to make this analysis as simplistic and as easy as possible. And what I'm interested here on the monthly time frame is where that red 5 exponential moving average is, and is price above it or below it. If price is above it, there is still a threat of an actual upside, a sustained upside breakout move. And if Solana does close this month below it, which is right now at 148.5, with Solana trading at 141.5, then I would be expecting likely a try for a breakdown coming into September, perhaps with price action back down somewhere close to about $100. But it's a long time left between now and the end of the month. And again, 140.5 is that magical number. If Solana can maintain above, this still looks like one massive range, which is likely to continue probably into September as well. Going through the different timeframes here, however, I should outline that the 5-day time frame does see that the 5-day stochastic oscillator will continue to the downside. That is going to be holding up as long as Solana is below 184. But more importantly here is that Solana has one of these massive trendline regressions coming in from the lows of basically January of 2023, where this whole macro bull market started to really get going, connected with the macro lows in September, another major bottoming area, and then again in July here. So I do suspect that this trend line will get retested again. That is going to take at minimum 2 more periods, 2 more closing periods, and we just got a new one last night, so that's 10 days minimum. Could take 3, I'd say at most, so 15 days. Again, probably putting us into the end of this month here, / early September. But if and when things do come down around there, that's where we would expect to bounce. And could that imply that there is going to be some short-term downside as that does play out? Yeah, I mean, this would be the time for it. Solana could very easily come back down somewhere around 130, and not really do all that much. Doesn't break the overall range to the downside. And more or less is still just a range play overall. On top of that, if Solana were to do something like that, it actually would be setting up for some hidden bullish evidence here on the 5-day RSI compared with the lows that we saw in April and in February as well. So, if that does happen again, the LARP lines are probably going to look something like this. It comes down a little bit, boom, pops back up, and then the key point for Solana, the very, very key point for Solana would be this, coming back up above Thursday, the 8th of August high. Jesus Christ, it's like a terrible line, like right there. Let me just put in one of these horizontal rays. There we go. If Solana can trade back above that number, that's where I'd say, hey, Solana isn't clear. I don't know necessarily if it would just like green dildo its way to the heavens from there, but ultimately I would be looking at that as like in a position of power, likely to threaten a breakout soonish after that, breakout to new highs, that is, realistically above $200. But it's a long time left to go. And again, kind of best case scenario for here, at least in my opinion, is sideways basically. Obviously the next most important thing is to know when there's a breakdown, and realistically, I mean, if this thing even just comes below Saturday the 3rd of August low, or sorry, actually this is on a 5-day, let me see, I'm guessing that's Monday the 5th of August, then that would do it for me. Or if you just see a closure below about 120, then get ready for the next markdown. And this is going to look like a major monthly top for a long time. And that is definitely possible here, but I'd still give it the benefit of the doubt until that happens. I mean, we haven't really seen a reversal here just yet. There's just one massive trading range, and fair enough. These things can go on for a little while longer, and it likely does go on for a little while longer. Again, still aiming for, in my opinion, mid to late September, honestly. Anyways, okay, yes, just making sure that I hit all my notes over here. Okay, yes, Boo Laws rejoice above the Thursday, August of 8 high. Okay, yep. All right, we got that. Let's move on to Ethereum now. And going over here to Ethereum, I do want to point out that, again, we do have one of these 5-day trend lines coming in from where? Coming in from actually June of 2022 lows, but this was low for Ethereum in the prior market cycle. It did not make new lows in what was it, like October, November of 2022. But of course, this trend line is connected with those lows again in September, and then more recently in May actually of this year. And this trend line is going to be tested, not in this next period, probably the one after that. So, well, about 2 periods, which is going to be 10 days, I would say minimum, and probably also maximum as well. There's not too much space to fill out right there in this case. So, what could that look like in terms of price action? Price action in the meantime might have another stumble and maybe test down around, I don't know, like 2400, something like that. And then actually play at a bounce again, early September-ish, because like 10 days from now, you're basically already out of August anyways. Yeah, that's probably what it would look like. My main message today basically is like, don't expect nothing like this, okay? Like, I don't know why, but well, I do know why people, or not people, but analysts on the highly esteemed venues of crypto Twitter and YouTube, just, it's always a fucking rocket ship. Of course, it makes it more interesting. But again, sideways is the name of the game here at best for the Bulas, in my opinion, at best. If you're really looking for like an actual move, the most likely move would be to the downside for most things, if there is going to be like a major move at all in the short term. So yeah. Anyways, let me just make sure that I hit my notes. I need to take some of this water because my throat's actually starting to bother me again. Okay, yes. All right. But I did make a note here to be aware of the monthly stochastic momentum is going to be heavy down as long as Ethereum is below 3750, more than $1,000 below that as of right now. It is well below that red 5 exponential moving average as well. So I am inclined to say that Ethereum is the most likely one to continue to be corrective here for a long time. Especially for Ethereum, I do not think that you're going to get any sort of like green dildo to the heavens without like a multi-month long continuation of the consolidation, basically between about 3,200 to the upside versus kind of where it's at right now to the downside. But yes, moving on from there, I do want to check out the weekly time frame. Weekly time frame is actually going to see momentum possibly twist the upside if Ethereum can close above 2650 today. I do think that the 5-day and in the weekly are probably going to end up aligning with each other. So you're not going to see that, or you're probably not going to see that condition met, but can definitely be wrong on that one. Moving on over here, I do want to add that for Ethereum, it is going to start to build some divergences on, some powerful timeframes. In this case, the daily, the 2-day, probably even the 5-day might be building some over here. But that would imply that, this next move there probably is one more move where this one does come back down somewhere around, this prior area that you did see between about 2450 to about 2350 or so, so what can it look like in terms of large lines, something like this perhaps. And then if things are going to be bullish, you would be expecting, some upside from there. So again, it does likely bode for some downside in the short term. But what I'd be looking for is something like this pops back up, and then we get these time frames aligning over here with what we're looking for, or at least what I'm looking for, in terms of retesting these trend lines and whatnot. So going to take some time, and the real question is like, should you be holding your breath on this next downside move? I do think that it will bounce out of there. That's my personal opinion, but of course I can be wrong on that. And how will you know that Ethereum is just absolutely fucking bouquet? Well, I would say like below 2,200 again, big problems there. In terms of like an actual breakdown, we start to talk about, probably we can start talk about like a one handle overall again on price action, but for right now, still have to kind of give things, in my opinion, still the benefit of the doubt. Of course, for Ethereum, where like with Solana, there was like a Bulas rejoice above the Thursday, the August high. That's where things start to look like, really solid again, actually. For Ethereum, where's that same level, or is there a number for that for Ethereum? And realistically, I mean, if we're just going off of trend right here, like your last lower high was 3,500. So it's got some work to do. It's got some work to do. I'll put it that way. That's why I do say Ethereum is probably the most likely one to continue in this sort of sideways and boring sort of bullshit that's going on. But I do think that that's best case scenario for this one. Anyways, moving on to Bitcoin, I did want to follow up on this position here, the one that was opened on Friday at about 58,900. Still in it, I suppose. Now the exit conditions would be with a closure on today's daily below 59,300. If Bitcoin closed below there, it will exit this position and look for the next one, I guess, which should be like a hilariously small gain, but a gain nonetheless, and probably still just waiting around for this thing to really truly fire off. But as of right now, for Bitcoin, we can see that the daily is at kind of a precarious place for the HBDR. It is right on the median here, meaning that, which is actually one and the same, basically, with this 5 exponential. I should add, like, these things are almost the exact same number as of right now. If Bitcoin does close below there, not only will that trade close, but also I would expect another test back down here, somewhere around the bottom end of the 38.2 level, which is 57,500 or so. And that would obviously fulfill, these tests lower on, Solana and Ethereum as well. So it actually kind of does make sense to me. But again, need to see it actually close below there, and then that becomes more and more viable. Of course, the upside, the most obvious area for this one is again that Thursday, August 8th high, basically above like 62,500. That's where things start to look, a lot better for Bitcoin. And in terms of running towards the deeper 60s, let's say like 66 to 67,000 bucks. But naturally, that will take some time. Also, I wanted to add for Bitcoin, 5-day time frame. Again, just closed another one last night. This trendline regression to the downside continues to play out. And not only that, but the stochastic momentum pivot shifted up a few $1,000 actually. I believe it was 62,500 yesterday before the new open. Now it is 65,000. So again, it does seem to me like things are going to be put under pressure here in the short term between now and the end of August. And the real question is, do things like actually make new lows or not? If they don't make new lows, probably a good sign that things will inevitably salvage themselves, probably in the later portion of September again. But until then, this is kind of like the pressure on scenario to the downside. So just be aware of those numbers. Be aware of where things actually do change for Bitcoin to the downside. Where do things actually start to look like really, 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 really bad? I mean, I would say below 56. Again, that Thursday of this past week's low, the 15th of August. But on a closing base, I should add, at that point, kind of to be looking for a move towards 52 or so. So yeah, that's it for right now. I think that we got everything out of the way in record time. I completely forgot to play my special message. So you know what? Today, no special message. Anyways, my voice can probably use it at this point. So I'll be signing off on that note. Again, wishing you all the best. Take care. Much love, and see you hopefully tomorrow.